Hello, gorgeous humans, and welcome to another episode of Your Power. I am so happy to have you here. My belly is about to rumble. You know, when you feel that thing coming up in your throat, it's like the belly rumbly sensation. I am so hungry. Anyway, hi, how are you? I am here to talk to you today about a subject that I have been wanting to come on and talk about for a really long time, but I think I honestly have just still been processing it this whole time, because it was an experience that changed it all for me. It was an experience that showed me my power more than anything else that I have ever done. It was an experience that has influenced my second business, which I haven't said out loud yet publicly. So that's a little sneak peek. It was an experience that brought me back to life and gave me, oh my God, I'm already going to get teary. It gave me a whole new meaning and purpose for life and what I want to do and what I want to bring to the world. And I know for a fact that everyone has noticed the shift in me since this experience and the shift in what I'm doing. And that was because of how profound this experience was. And in case you didn't realize from the title of the episode, I am going to give you a little bit of a debrief on my Bali retreat. That is the experience that I am talking about. I wanted to come on and give you a debrief because, you know, it's all well and good to look at the videos and look at the content on social media and read all of the reviews and the testimonials and all of the things, but I wanted to give you an insight into what actually happened inside, because inside a space like this, it's seriously like a vortex. Like, it is just such a powerful place to be, and it's so hard to describe what a place like this can do for you. It's so hard to put it into words how these spaces can be for you, but I'm going to try because I just need you to know, and I need every single person to experience these things. I think it goes without saying how powerful this was when 4 people on the retreat immediately signed on to one-on-one coaching with me afterwards. 3 people are inside my 12-month membership after it. And I am sure, I think now every single person that was on that retreat I have worked with in close proximity since the retreat. So that is one example and one, I guess, indicator of how fucking powerful this retreat was. Another indicator is that I think there were 5 or 6 of us that got tattoos. That got tattoos on the last day of the retreat that were relevant to something that happened on the retreat. Like quotes that we were saying, or things that, you know, one of the girls got her very first tattoo on her body of something one of the other girls wrote to them on the retreat. Like, how incredible is that? I'm sorry, but like, that is just, I cannot even. My tattoo, for all of you watching on YouTube, my retreat tattoo was this one, the little brain, just to signify like me knowing exactly that this is what I want to do and this is what I want to teach people about. Because what this retreat was, and my intentions going into this retreat, was to show everyone inside the profound effects of their brain and their body and their behavior. And everything that I did inside the retreat was very, very intentional and very, you know, the background, I wouldn't get people up and go, okay, cool, like what can you feel in your body? Like, let's go out and get sunlight. Like, let's go and do this certain thing that's for our body. Like, that all just happened. And then the processes happened in between that so that I could show people what actually happens when you prioritize your brain and your body and your behavior, and what you can kind of get out of that experience. And what we got out of that experience was the ability in people to be able to see that power, right? The power in doing things like breathwork, the power in doing things like subconscious reprogramming, understanding your ego, understanding dysregulation, and using that as your tool to go deeper. Using these things as your tool to go deeper. And that's what I think a lot of people project onto my retreat. Knowing that I am a nervous system and neuroscience coach, I think a lot of people project that the retreat is going to be very much physical, right? It's going to be very much like breath work and yoga and physical activity to kind of look at the influence of brain, body, and behavior. It is not that at all. It's actually taking this experience, diving into who you are as a human, having the difficult conversations, doing the ego work, doing the shadow work, looking at your limiting beliefs and your subconscious programming, and tying that all back in with all of the things that knowing your brain and body can do for those things, right? Looking at your goals, looking at the things that you're normalizing, like looking at the things that you want to achieve and who you want to be, and showing you how that's possible with your brain and your body and your behavior. And that's what my retreats are. They are not these behavior, breathwork, yoga retreats, right? Yes, there are components of that, but what they are is the best way to describe it came from Brooke on the retreat. And she said that, and her and I got this tattoo. Again, if you're on YouTube watching this, it's a disco ball with a cowboy boot and cowboy hat on because it's just us. But we got the disco ball because a main theme of the retreat and what we were saying to the girls on the retreat was, what this space is going to do for you is it's going to break you into a million pieces, and then it's going to allow you to put yourself back together in the way that you desire, right? It's going to break you in terms of seeing your shadows, seeing your patterns, seeing your behaviors, seeing what's holding you back, seeing your trauma and your past experiences and breaking apart every single element of that, and then showing you how to put yourself back together in a beautiful, shiny disco ball, right? Showing you how you can use your brain and your body and your behavior to put yourself back together into whatever way you desire, into achieving whatever you desire. And that is the best explanation for what happens on these retreats and what happens in my spaces. It's that beautiful ability of completely recreating who you are and optimizing who you are and breaking yourself apart to really understand who you are and what you are and putting yourself back together in whatever way that you desire. And it's such a powerful process. And that is my process for all of my spaces. But on the retreat, it's really accelerated because we're in a vortex for 4 days. So I am so passionate about these spaces. I am so passionate about what I do, obviously. I'm passionate enough that, you know, this retreat has stemmed an entirely new company that I am developing in the background. And, you know, the retreats are going to continue. I have 2 retreats this year coming up. I'll put the link in the show notes so you can take a look at those. But this is what I want to be doing. This is exactly what I want to be doing. And that's why the retreat was so profound for me, because it showed me so much of the power in what I'm doing. And I just fucking love that. So I want to take you through a little bit of a recap and a little bit of a run through of what we actually did and what went on inside the retreat, because I think that'll be really cool. I hope I remember all of this. It was a long time ago now, but I'll tell you all the important parts anyway. So Ash and I actually went over, if you don't know Ash, Creative Cacti. She is, you know, one of my best friends. She is my partner in crime. She came to Bali with me and captured the retreat, which was amazing. So Ash and I went to Bali a little over a week before the retreat actually started, just to kind of get our bearings, just to kind of, you know, well, I mean, we love Bali, so any extra time in Bali is amazing. But, you know, just to be there before everyone arrived and also just really kind of chill and hang out and get in the zone. And we ended up just like restaurant hopping and enjoying cocktails. And we just had an incredible week before the retreat started. And I think that's exactly what I needed, just to kind of settle into Bali, have some fun, just relax. And, you know, I think if I flew over to Bali and then went to the retreat like the next day or something, I would have been quite heightened and dysregulated. So that week before the retreat actually allowed me to just like chill out, enjoy time with my friend and just have some fun. And yeah, it was a really good idea. I would absolutely do that again. So we were there about a week before the retreat actually started. The retreat started on the Monday, and some of the girls actually flew in that weekend. So some people arrived on like the Saturday, Sunday. So what I actually decided to do was we had a group chat that I set up before we left and a couple of weeks before the retreat. And so I actually just put like an open invitation onto the group chat for the Sunday and basically just said like, hey, I know we don't officially start until tomorrow, but Ash and I are going to go have a cocktail, watch the sunset. If anyone wants to come and just we can kind of have a really like informal meeting of each other before the retreat actually starts on Monday. And that was a really like impromptu idea, but it was probably the best idea that I had because it really allowed everyone to settle their nerves, everyone that was able to come that night. We didn't do anything exciting. We didn't do anything massive. We just sat at one of the places in Canggu. We watched the sunset. We had a cocktail. We had some food. And it just allowed everyone to just kind of get familiar with each other. And, we did no official introductions or anything because not everyone was there. But it just settled the nerves a bit. It just kind of like allowed us to ease into the space, which was really good. I really liked that I did that. So I would love to, have that opportunity again the next time as well. It just, it made it so the next day wasn't so daunting for everyone. You know what I mean? Unfortunately, Sunday was actually when I started to get really unwell. I woke up on Sunday morning and I wasn't good at all. It wasn't Bali belly. I think it was in hindsight not really in hindsight, I knew at the time, but I wasn't really eating the food that I usually eat. Like I am really good at home with eating really high quality, not processed, no gluten food. And just the food that I was eating over there for the week prior, we weren't holding back. Like we were trying out all of the restaurants, we were trying out all the recommendations, we were drinking a lot of cocktails, and my stomach just wasn't happy with that. Like my gut is very sensitive now that I have treated it very kindly the last kind of 12 months. Now it's very sensitive to a lot of things that I eat. So I was just feeling a bit yuck. And so Sunday, I didn't really have anything to eat and I wasn't really feeling good. And then I woke up Monday morning, I still wasn't feeling very well right before the retreat. So I actually ended up getting a business that comes to you in Bali to put me on like an IV for the morning just to get some fluid and vitamins and minerals into my body before the retreat. But this was an interesting conversation that we had on the retreat in terms of choosing your problems. I think for me, whilst yes, I was uncomfortable and yes, I felt sick, I could have chosen for that to be an issue or not, and I chose for that not to be an issue. I did what I needed to do. I wasn't feeling great, It wasn't that I was eating a lot of shit, although I was eating a lot and a lot of things that I usually wouldn't, but just things eating out every single day. All of the oils that they use are really different, and my tummy wasn't happy. So that was something that wasn't great and something that I will absolutely try and prioritize next time. But it was interesting for that to come up for me because it really allowed me to practice what problems I was going to choose and practice what I was going to make an issue, and it was never going to be that. So that was a good test. But then on Monday, we didn't really officially start the retreat until Monday afternoon, just to allow everyone to get checked out of where they were staying beforehand. So I got the drip in on Monday morning and we just had a nice chill morning. And then we actually got drivers to get everyone from their own accommodation and bring them to our accommodation where we were staying before the retreat villa. Again, we really wanted everyone to be arriving at the same time, arriving together. So it wasn't like a scattered afternoon in terms of starting the retreat. We kind of just got everyone as they needed to in the morning, brought them to our accommodation. We hung out, we had lunch, did all the things. And then when we were ready to go to the villa, to the retreat, we just got everyone in a couple of cars and had everyone arrive at the same time. So that was good because again, it wasn't like people were arriving alone. It wasn't like this awkward kind of staggered arrival. Everyone got to kind of settle in, introduce each other, have a drink, have some food, whatever, and then everyone went to the space together. So we were all entering in a way that was, we had the safety of the people around us. Then when we got to the villa, we had staff there at the villa, which was amazing and just so helpful. Oh, it was, absolutely, in terms of like running a retreat, having the staff there was the best thing ever. And everyone loved our staff. We had such beautiful, beautiful people helping us out there. They just became such characters to us. And we just loved them. It was great. But we all got to the villa. We had a little bit of a tour. We got all of our stuff away. All of the staff took our stuff up to our rooms, and it was amazing. And we just kind of settled into the space. And then I went around. So I actually went to the villa before everyone else got there. And I actually went around and was really intentional with what I was doing in terms of who was sharing a room, what room they were in, talking to the staff about things like, when I say I really did things behind the scenes that were really intentional for what we were doing, I talked to the staff about things like a turn down service and having all the lights dimmed at a certain time, and, making sure that when like our first activity in the morning was straight outside into morning sunlight, and all of these things I worked with the staff with and around, and our eating times and everything like that. Everything was really intentional. So for example, if we were to have dinner, I would make sure that, the room next door that we were having our activity in, that the room was prepared in a way where the lights were dimmed and everything was low, and all of that stuff I kind of went through with the staff to be very intentional in terms of everyone's nervous systems and all of those things. So it's funny because one of the girls actually said, a few weeks after the retreat, she was like, I didn't even notice those things in the moment. They would just, it wasn't like, oh, walking into this room and now everything's dimmed and my bed's already like turned down for me and everything's perfect. But looking back, like, it was so obvious how intentional all of those things were in terms of what I try and teach. So yeah, it was cool to do that. That was awesome. And then the first thing that we did was just a space setting activity. So I just kind of took everyone through, what to expect, the expectations of the space, a rough idea of what we were going to do, and just like allowed everyone to really settle into the space. And there's a video of me from the first day of the retreat saying to the girls that, my job over that 5 days is to be holding every single one of them to the highest of standards, and to expect that at times they're probably going to hate me, they're going to feel challenged, they're going to feel triggered. And that was my aim. And I wanted to really set that intention from the get-go so they could be really, really aware that that was all on purpose, and I was going to be sacrificing for the next 5 days the way that they felt about me to make sure that they got the most out of the experience. Because, being in a space like that, it takes a lot of power and a lot of courage to push people to an extent where you can trigger them and you can challenge them, and you can make them see something that, they need to analyze, or whatever that looks like. And, it takes a really powerful person to keep pushing someone to do that and keep pushing someone to their edge and their challenge. And I've been on the receiving end of that, and you like fucking want to throw the person in the pool. You know what I mean? Like it's not a fun experience to be on the receiving end of. So I wanted to make sure that the girls knew that when I was doing that, it was from a place of love. It's from a place of them wanting to get the most out of that, me wanting them to get the most out of that experience. And I'm willing to sacrifice the way that they felt about me over that 5 days to make sure that that vortex we were in, they were going to walk away from that vortex with life-changing experiences. So that was really what I wanted to do from the get-go, from the first conversation, is really get them into this space of, okay, cool, this is what you can expect. I want you to set the intention of really stepping up here, of really stepping into pushing yourself and leaning in, because that's where you're going to get the most out of this experience. I'm not going to sit here and allow you to play small. I'm not going to sit here and soothe you and look after you and be kind and be gentle, because then they have flown across the world for absolutely no fucking reason, right? They've flown across to this retreat to get a nice, gentle holiday, and that's not what they're paying me for. They're paying me for life changes, and that's what they're gonna get. So yeah, that was essentially the first night, and then we did an intention setting activity and all of the things, and then I handed out the mouth tape for the first night. So I went around to, everyone went to bed. I went around to everyone's individual room. This actually became my favorite part of the nights, was that, everyone went to bed, everyone got ready. And then once everyone was in bed and we were all in our pajamas, I actually went around to every room individually and had a chat and gave them their mouth tape. And I think on one of the nights did the rounds. It was like 2 hours. Like I just was talking to everyone for so long. It was just like my favorite part of the night. So yeah, went around, gave everyone mouth tape. A lot of the girls, it was their first time mouth taping, and obviously everyone was, some people were a bit hesitant, and that was all right. But yeah, it was good. That was the first night. And then the second day, we had a private yoga session in our villa. So we had a beautiful backyard with like a koi fish pond, and we set up some yoga mats, and we had Aika. I met her on my trip prior to that at a place called the Body Factory in Bali, and I just loved the session that I did with her. So I asked her for a private session. We did 2 private sessions with her actually. So she came in on the first morning, and I think we started at 6 or 7, I don't remember. But again, very intentional. The first activity was outside in the morning sunlight, and we did yoga outside, which was beautiful. And then for the first real process, for the first kind of workshop that we did on the first day, I really wanted to kick off the space with a bang. So we've done our intention setting, we've done our expectations, and what I knew was needed for me to get the most out of the next few days was to set the level of vulnerability. And I was having conversations with the girls around, what it means to show up as a collective, what it means to show up, putting everything into a space gives everyone else the opportunity to raise that level and become that level as well. And so by knowing that, the first activity was very intentional in the way that it was going to set the level of vulnerability for the rest of the space. And I am so happy with this decision that I made, because I truly believe this activity just set the whole tone for the retreat. And what I did was I actually put myself in the hotspot, and I let every single person ask me whatever they wanted. And that was with the intention of being a completely vulnerable, open book, sharing anything that they wanted to know, giving them access to anything that they wanted to know about me, and that setting the level of vulnerability and storytelling and how much every person was going to lean into the space. And that went for a couple of hours. I was a blubbering mess. I was sobbing most of the time. I told them every single detail about my experience and especially the experience of the last 12 months. And that was probably the best thing that I did on the retreat, because it set that not only the level of vulnerability for everyone to plug into and lean into, but I truly believe it made every single person in that space feel more connected to me, and therefore it led them to lean in further because of that. It led them to feel safer because of that. And so, yeah, I'm really happy that I did that, and that went for much longer than I planned for it to go for, but that was absolutely okay. I wanted exactly what I got out of it, and yeah, I loved that activity. That was the very first activity, and then we kind of did some processes. I'm not going to give you details of any of the activities, because a lot of you listening will end up coming on retreats, and my activities are a vault. I want you to be surprised and not prepare for any of the activities on retreats. So I'm not going to tell you any of the activities, but essentially what I did was I split a lot of the days up. So in the morning, we did a lot of processing, we did a lot of workshops, we did activities. And then the afternoon was very much holiday vibe. So we enjoyed our villa, we went shopping, we enjoyed the sunshine, we relaxed, we, allowed ourselves to regulate back after the processing and after the activities. And that was very intentional as well. So that was the Tuesday. Wednesday was absolutely my favorite day of the retreat. Absolutely my favorite day. I actually did this day in the opposite because of what I had planned. So we had a chill morning. I actually don't remember what we did in the morning. We kind of just woke up, got some sunlight, went and got some Starbucks, chilled. I think a couple of the girls went to the shops, laid by the pool. We had a chill morning. And then what we did was our breakthrough breathwork session. So I asked the staff to really transform the main space that we had, the main space that we were doing the processing in. They made it so soft and beautiful and homey and set up all of the yoga mats around the space, and we enclosed the space. Closed all of the sheer curtains, and it was beautiful. We had the aircon going. It was so cozy and nice and really safe. And we just created this vortex. And then we did the breakthrough breathwork session. And because we had already, that's right, on the first night, on the Tuesday night, we actually played We're Not Really Strangers. We ended up staying up so late the first night playing this game because it was just so much fun. And again, that just allowed us to really get to know each other. And I'm so glad we did that on the first day, because then with the breakthrough session, everyone was really leaning in. Everyone was really safe from the get-go. People were, I remember a lot of the girls saying like they were already releasing emotions before we even got into the breakthrough breathing. Like, it was just so awesome. It was so great to have this experience. We did it for about 2 hours. And then that was probably the most kind of mentally taxing activity that I had planned on the retreat. And so what I did was, after we had a little bit of a reflection after the breakthrough session, I then had masseuses arrive, and that was a surprise for the girls. So they arrived, and that was just a way for me to actually help regulate them after that breakthrough breathwork session. So, we did the session, it was a lot, and then everyone went off to their rooms. I had masseuses go into the rooms with the girls and just, have a really nice, beautiful, regulating massage after the breakthrough breathwork session, which was perfect. And then after our massages, we got comfy, we put our pajamas on. That's what I did in the morning. I actually went to the supermarket and bought bags and bags. I think it was like $200 worth of snacks. We had an inside joke on the retreat. We called them sweetie treaties because they were just elite. We had so many snacks, and we had a movie night, and this was absolutely my favorite. This is why it was my favorite day. I loved this experience. We put all the bean bags from outside into the lounge room. We had blankets, we were in our comfy clothes, we had our snacks, we were all like huddled up in this room watching a movie, and I'm getting emotional just thinking about it because I just loved it so much. We watched Inside Out, and we laughed and we giggled, and it was like a big slumber party. It was so beautiful. And doing that in terms of like this sisterhood healing moment, for me especially, like I forgot in that moment that this was my retreat, and in that moment I was just having a movie night with my girls. Like, it was, I just loved it. I loved it so much. So we did that. We went to bed. That was a beautiful night. And then Thursday was our last full day, and we did morning yoga again. So again, Aika came in the morning. This session was a yin yoga session, which was perfect. We just had, a big full few days. And I, very intentionally had the yoga on our last full day, just because we've had a lot going on in our nervous system the last few days, so the yin yoga was a perfect way to kind of have that towards the end. We did yoga, we had our morning activities, and then we had the free afternoon. And then on Thursday night, we actually all went out for dinner and a couple of cocktails and had just a really nice dinner out on this big table at this restaurant. I think the original plan at the start of the week was, maybe go for a dance somewhere or go do that. But honestly, we were all just exhausted. It's just such a big few days on a retreat. You're processing so much. Our nervous systems were so busy the whole time. And, we were so happy to just enjoy this beautiful dinner and a couple of cocktails. And then we all went home and had just a really nice night's sleep. And I think that was the night that I actually ended up being in everyone's rooms for a couple of hours, because it was, it was our last night. I had a bit of like one-on-one sessions with everyone and hanging out one-on-one with a lot of the girls. And yeah, it was beautiful. Actually, no, that's a lie. The night that I was in everyone's room was after the movie night. The last night, a lot of the girls ended up coming back and hanging out around the pool, and I think we went to bed. I went to bed. Yeah, I was exhausted. But yeah, no, we just kind of hung out around the pool for a little bit, and then yeah, I went to bed. Got a good night's sleep. I don't think the girls were too far behind me anyway, so yeah, it was just, that was a really nice last night. For all of the rest of our meals, we actually had a private chef in the villa, which was awesome. It was so good. We had, yeah, delicious meals and breakfasts and lunch, and yeah, it was great. It was great. Our private chef was awesome. And then on Friday, we kind of just did we had breakfast, we got up and had breakfast, packed our bags, and then we just did like our final closing off activity. We did a little bit of like, okay, what are you going to take from this space? Like, where are you going to go from here? Everyone kind of set, their next steps, their next level. And what was really cool was, last week we had a retreat catch-up call, and we all kind of went around and told everyone where we were at. And a lot of us, had a lot of, I'd say us, like I fucking, like I was a part of it. But, it was so cool to see on the retreat catch-up how many moves these girls had made since the retreat, and a lot of them actually had, because I've been working with a few of them privately as well, a lot of them in this final activity that we did, talking about what the next step was and what the next normalization was. A lot of them have done that and moved forward and done that. And I just think that is so special and is so cool. And, not one person on that retreat has not done these massive things towards what they said they were going to do, which was really fucking cool. I very strongly recall the last, we did this last activity, and, as we were done, I started to say like, that is the final activity. And as I was saying that, I just burst into tears because it was kind of like in that moment, I had been in facilitator mode for the retreat. I had been in like, this is how it has to go, the structure, everything. And it was like in that final moment, I was like, holy fuck, like what an experience. Like, look at what we have just achieved together. And I just tears streaming. And yeah, that was when I just said to them, like, thank you. Thank you for every individual part that you guys played in this retreat. A retreat is an amazing experience, and I can absolutely structure a retreat around, specific processes, specific activities. I can give it my all in terms of what the experience is going to be structurally, but every single person in that space showed up so vulnerably and so powerfully, and every single person contributed to the space, and that is what made this experience so profound. And it was just phenomenal. It was life-changing for me. A lot of the girls have told me how life-changing it was for them, and it was just, even talking about it now, it's like, fuck yeah, like, can't wait for the next one. And I cannot wait for all of the other things that I have planned in terms of this style of experience and what I'm going to bring to the world in that. And then we did our official goodbye at the villa. Those who had to get flights got flights. We said our goodbyes, we did our thing, and then we all ended up going to the cafe. And like, we all said goodbye and like whatever. And it was kind of like we were all like really in avoidance of actually leaving each other. So we left the villa, and then we all ended up going to the same place to get a coffee, and then we went shopping, and then like we all kind of like slowly dispersed throughout the day, because I think all of us were really avoiding that like big final goodbye. None of us wanted it. None of us wanted to leave each other's proximity. So that was really nice. We went shopping. We all went to the tattoo parlor. We dispersed, we all got our tattoos and went to the shops, got massages. A lot of us flew out that night. So then we went to the airport, and then there was another little group of us that were flying out that night that were at the airport together. And yeah, it was a really cool experience, and to watch the friendships that have come from the retreat as well, to watch the connections that have been made is just so special. Like it's just so special to witness. And I genuinely believe that like these friendships are so solid because of the experience that everyone had together. It's almost like, you know, it's almost been a year to the day that, I mean, by the time this episode comes out, it will have been a year, but since my first experience, my first profound retreat experience, and I have been preaching for that year how special it is to be in these spaces, how life-changing it can be to be in these spaces. And that's not me saying it because I'm trying to sell. That's not me saying it because I'm trying to, you know, make money from retreats. I don't really make money from retreats. I don't really make a profit at all from in-person stuff. I do it because of the experience. I do it because of what it can do for people. That is why I do these kinds of things, because the change that you can make to your life. The reason I did a retreat to begin with was because of what I experienced on the retreat that I went on. It changed my life. And I knew that I wanted to give that experience in my own way and with what I could teach to other people. And to step into that and be able to do that was the most special thing that I have ever done. It's incredible. So if you are someone who wants to take your life, I'm not even going to say business, I'm not even going to say personal development, your life. If you want to take your life to the next level, a retreat is what you need to look at. And if that is my retreat, I cannot wait to have you. Like I said, I will put the link to the retreat in the show notes. The retreat is going to be a part of something bigger, which I'm really excited about. And the girls on the retreat already know about that. They're the first people that I shared this with. So yeah, it's going to be huge. And I really think you should be a part of that. If you're here, if you're someone who's interested in the work that I do and what I teach, then the retreat is going to be life-changing for you. So come and check it out. Other than that, that is all for this episode. Thank you for being here as always. I hope you enjoyed the episode, however you consumed it, whether in your ears or if you're watching on YouTube. Hello to you. But most importantly, thank you for giving a shit about your brain and your nervous system. I will see you next episode. Love you, bye.